who you represent.
My client is Luke Fulton.
Okay, and then talk about what did he do that you can share.
Sure. Well, as we discussed before we met, my position is that because my client is seeking Holmes Youthful Training Act status, the information shouldn't be public at this stage. But to correct the record, because I think there's a lot of misinformation that's starting to get out there, he was charged with aggravated assault. He entered into a plea on October 8th to simple assault, which is the difference between a misdemeanor with a 1-year maximum penalty and a misdemeanor with a 93-day penalty. And it's somebody getting hurt seriously enough to go to the hospital or need medical treatment versus something like a punch or an attempt to punch you.
Okay, so what caused this incident to happen, or that you can share, of course?
Ethically, I shouldn't get into all of what I believe are the mitigating circumstances that got Mr. Fulton into this whole thing. So I don't want to really, commit the sin that I condemn. So
that's okay. That's okay. And then, are you allowed to say if they were at a frat house, why were they there? If they're not supposed to be there, be in large gatherings.
Right. I mean, that part, I don't think it's ethical for me to really get into details. But here's what I'll tell you. Mr. Fulton was home that night and needed to go help a friend who seemed to be in need of assistance. That's how he ended up where they say he was.
Okay. And then, do you think the punishment that Fulton is facing fair?
Well, I've lived in this community for over 3 decades, and those of us who live in East Lansing know that college kids do things that are dumb and they wouldn't do, 10 years down the road. It's a really garden variety resolution. The prosecutor's office talked to the person who was involved, the person who was punched. It's nothing that wouldn't happen in any other of the hundreds of thousands of cases that have happened off campus or on campus over the last 3 or 4 decades.
Okay. And then what about the other player, Charles? Do you know his record? Is it supposed to be not public, or you can?
I don't know what's going on with that. I just don't.
That's okay. Is there anything else that I didn't ask that you want to make sure that the public knows, and if this story is out, is there anything that you can and would like to share about Fulton?
About Luke Fulton?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm glad you narrowed that down, because had you kept it wide open, I would have started taking shots at Steve Kuhn on camera. In terms of Luke Fulton, let me say this. I met this young man a month ago. Super nice young man who had excellent grades in high school and continues to work hard, although his stress level went, from here by about a factor of 10 when all this became a serious criminal prosecution. Then, the last couple of days when it became public, his anxiety level is off the charts, but he's doing his best to manage it. Even though it's unfortunate that I don't think it should be public, but it is, I think he recognizes, this young man, that as a representative of a major university, you kind of get the spotlight a little bit. So he's dealing with it as best he can. Great kid.
Awesome. Is there any, what's next? Is there court dates or anything next?
As you saw on the public docket, according to the public docket, there's a sentencing proceeding on October 28th, and I'm hoping that the court will grant him the HYTA status like it has on a case like this hundreds, if not thousands of times in the past.
Awesome. Anything else?